looks pretty big, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Got in there.
Yeah.
Wasn't all that pretty of a maneuver, but it worked nevertheless.
So we're trying to tap this antler.
Yeah. Without bursting it. But considering how tough a material it is, it might be possible. Now I want to screw this on the end of a ramrod. It's a handle. So this is a taper tap. I'm going to see how far in there I got.
What's a taper tap?
I'll show you when I get it out. I have a set of bottoms here too. I think this is out of my taper tap log. Yeah, so see how it's tapered on the end. Actually, I kind of think leaving this on this amp might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Screw the ramrod into it, then cut it off. We're going to mark it first so we know how deep the hole went. Okay, let me get a marker.
Marker.
Yeah, I can put a dot on there. I'll pull it off, I guess. So I'm going to actually cut this up in here anyway, so it doesn't matter. I just kind of want to know how deep the hole went. Okay, so I got plenty of room. So I'll cut it and then see how it looks on the gun and then kind of fit the ramrod to that. But
How many hours do you reckon you have in it?
I don't know. Maybe, what, 25, 30 hours? I don't know. Really, I didn't really keep track at all. And if you want to really get a thread on a rod straight, this is the only way you're going to do that.
So explain to me what you're doing here, because...
So I'm just threading the end of this rod, and to get that so everything is square and right, I'm using my lathe, my rod's in my lathe, in a collet, so I know that's square into the world, and then I put my die in here, and I put this chuck up against that die, so when I start cutting that thread on there, that thread's perfectly straight and square to that rod.
Okay. Then you're using... Okay.
Yeah, I'm using the tailstock to put pressure against this die to get that started on there. I think I'm turning it now. Back off. Clear myself. But I need to clean the chips off my lathe too. But
huh. That's clever.
now, if you want a nice thread, that's what you want to do because it's what gives you a nice square thread. I got to tighten that up a little. It's driving me nuts. Otherwise, if you try doing that by hand, you can start that. You can cut a thread really crooked if you work at it. This way, you will not do that. That gives us a really nice, really square thread on there.
Huh.
Just file a nice little lead on that. Okay, so this end of the ramrod, which goes in the handle, we've got.
Which is the antler piece that you worked on earlier.
Correct. So now, we're going to make a cleaning jag up for him. Because you want your cleaning jag undersized so your bore considerably so past patches.
Okay.
And this little tiny caliber, you kind of got to have a place for patches to go. now. Catch a little bit of release there. This is just such a small gun to work on. It's kind of out of my wheelhouse of normalcy. I'm gonna open up. Okay, back little chamfer on that shoulder. Okay, so now what we're going to do, grab the hacksaw and cut that off. Set up to fit the ramrod with thread in it, but what I'll do, since it's brass and I don't really shorten that up just a little bit. Trust that brass for strength. I'll put a 832 set screw in it for its thread.
Okay.
So just chuck up a center drill and tag that. Now, just like we did with the die, we're going to do the same thing with our tap. So now I can take and
Turn that by hand through the lathe.
right. Then I get a perfectly centered thread.
Huh.
It's perfectly straight, which is important on things like that. Probably to the bottom of my hole, I think. Yeah, I think I am. So now I got to get a bottom tap and run in there, because this is a taper tap. It's got a lot of no thread on it. So
Okay.
you don't have weeny little brass threads that are going to pop off. Because that little brass stem, if you thread that, you break that off so easy being brass. But by doing it this way, you have that nice hardened Allen screw in there. So there it is.
So this is this silver piece here. That's your ramrod tip.
Correct. And then this piece, so that gave me steel threads on the end of a brass ramrod. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chuck this back up, and I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, just to match that diameter better, get a little slimmer tip here.
That's good.
Yeah. That doesn't have to be tight right now. So
Give you enough?
Inch long, probably. Went past the screw. It's just too long. And probably stopped. So I'm going to put 2 marks on this. I call that like handle zone.
What's going through your mind here?
Well, I'm looking at that, and that, if I threaded my little piece of deer antler on here, I can thread it down to maybe here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to put a mark there and say I can thread deer antler down to there. But I don't think I can do that. Well, of course, you got to clean the gun. Because see, I go,
Oh,
that guy goes in.
that far.
Right. So if I'm cleaning all the way, this rod set up, I know that the handle on my ramrod has to be above that ring. Make sense?
Yep.
So now I have something to go by. So now we can cut that off and have a threaded section there that the antler screws onto, and we know what we've got. So I'm just going to screw that in an antler just for fun, see how that fits. Oh, not bad, really. Okay. So now we know what we got to do.
Can't lose a ramrod with one of these on the end.
That's right. I should give it to Max like that. Thought you wanted some horn on it there, a little antler.
You know, it's a garden rake, ramrod, combo tool. I think it's neat. There's a little more flair.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. It gives a little more flair. Okay. Slide this in the gun and see what it looks like. It may just be too much. I don't know.